Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here and welcome back to another crypto video. And today I'm going to show you guys how I would build my ultimate crypto bull market portfolio. Yes, I am also drinking from a coconut in the warm and sunny Dubai because I'm feeling like vacation vibes, you know? Whenever the crypto market goes into bullish territory, I just know that the whole market and everything starts getting juicier. It starts to feel more like vacation. I don't know. Anyway, let's quit blabbering. Very recently, I made a video for you guys explaining how I would build a portfolio for 2023. However, in that video, what I did not really go into specifically is how I would change my portfolio and how I would build it if the bull market is here or were to just come around the corner right now. And basically, how to prepare for the bull market. I think that's what I'm going to title the video. So I'm going to assume that all of you guys know a little bit about crypto already. Hopefully, you've been watching the channel for a little while. If you haven't, welcome. Let me say that. Anyway, this is CoinMarketCap, and right now we're taking a look at all the different cryptocurrencies out there. And here is one of the most important flowcharts that we look at or use for crypto. You need to understand both these things. Let us start. So what you're seeing in front of you is the money flow in crypto. And to explain it in simple terms, you have fiat, which is your euros, your dollars, your fiat currencies. Bitcoin being obviously Bitcoin, the biggest cryptocurrency out there. Large caps being your Ethereum, your XRP, and things on the high end of the scale. Mid caps being cryptocurrencies that are a lot smaller, maybe a cryptocurrency at the rank 110. And then you have low caps, which are cryptos in rank, for example, 4,000. Anyway, the article explains it in pretty big theory, but I can also explain to you guys how money usually flows. It goes from fiat into Bitcoin. That's usually how people start with crypto. Then they invest it into some bigger altcoins like Ethereum. Once they've got Ethereum, they can kind of diversify into different projects on the chain. Same thing goes for BNB. They can start like developing out, and they kind of go down the ladder of lower caps with more profit potential, but also consequently more risk. However, whenever the profit moment comes, usually these people don't sell for one tier upwards. No, they sell everything back into Bitcoin. And then that Bitcoin, to some degree, also gets flown back into euros and dollars, just back into fiat currencies as people exit the crypto market. Anyway, I think we have a good little start by starting out with the Bitcoin dominance, what to watch out for, and how to prepare. I should quickly state that I am not a financial advisor. I'm giving you guys my insights, and I may very well be wrong. So what I usually look at when we're talking about the dominance is the fact that whenever a bull run starts, like we've kind of just covered with this money flow, what you're seeing is a lot of inflows into Bitcoin. We've seen that now as indeed the price of Bitcoin is starting to go up. I have to kind of balance it up, but you understand. It's going up here. Now, it's going up relatively, you can see that here with Bitcoin's weekly performance, more than altcoins are. Most of these altcoins, except for XRP, which is perfectly same, funny. But most of these altcoins are performing less well than Bitcoin is doing. Again, that is usually a sign that there's a lot of people coming in from fiat or from these lower caps taking their profit. In this case here, I'd say we were in a very scary period for Bitcoin for a longer time. Now, bigger institutions and people in general are more willing to give crypto a go. We all, however, know that Bitcoin is least risky out of all cryptocurrencies, as usually it's least volatile. It goes down the least when the market moves down. It goes up the least when the market moves up, if we look at it over a couple month period. And so basically what we're seeing right now is an initial trust again in the cryptocurrency system where people are getting their Bitcoins, they're buying it, which is bringing this dominance up. They're getting rid of some altcoins, sure, but mostly they're just getting into this space. And every single cycle, it moves along a similar fashion where Bitcoin first climbs up in dominance as people are relatively buying more Bitcoin than they're buying altcoins. The whole market is moving up, but Bitcoin is moving up more than altcoins are, which is why the dominance percentage-wise, relatively is doing better. And the moment that Bitcoin reaches some sort of peak, we're estimating that could be already happening at 47% based on like the last year. But hey, we can surely be surprised if we look at the history. It may as well be at the moving average at 54%. Anyway, that at one of these points, it's going to have a turnaround. And at that point, altcoins are going to explode and go crazy. We have to just quickly refer back to this little chart. So how we usually go about making the most amount of money in these very extremely bullish markets once we get them is right now we're playing it safe by having a large portion of money in Bitcoin. And I personally, because of some, personal priorities, have a bigger chunk this bull run of my money in XRP, which is a large cap, but that has to do with the lawsuit that they're in. Usually, the majority of people I know stay mostly in Bitcoin right now. The moment we're starting to see more days where altcoins are going up 40%, 50% and whatnot, and Bitcoin's dominance starts falling, right now it's climbing, once it starts falling, and altcoins are doing good, these two have to match, we're starting to look to diversify more and more and more. So my initial step would be to go into these large caps and mid caps, right? No. I actually already, for the most part, own a lot of large caps. Right now, what I'm doing is prioritizing just Bitcoin for the meantime and potentially Ethereum in the large cap category. And the moment I'm starting to see these signs, I'm going to kind of skip the majority of large caps, skip the majority of mid caps, as these are safe options, and I'm going mostly for low caps. Is this the safest strategy? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But it's high risk and a very high reward. What I mean with that is we kind of skip these middle two parts and go straight from Bitcoin / major large caps into low caps because those yield the highest amount of profit. And then once the market comes back down, which could take a very long time, we move a lot of it back into the major large caps and Bitcoin, and then potentially we could cash out, but I don't like to do that. Anyway, right now we're still in the phase of fiat getting into Bitcoin, and this phase of Bitcoin moving kind of out. Just looking at the flow of things is not really happening too much just quite yet. I should, however, give you guys point out that there's usually quite a couple different things we're watching simultaneously. Like, for example, these very big signs. Right now, Bitcoin has broken out of a 400-day downtrend. That's a very significant milestone on its own. We've actually had a perfect retest as well. And so even though indeed we can fall and break down, we could always do that. This is a very strong reversal sign that things are starting to get bullish from here. In a similar sense, even though Bitcoin is showing better and better signs, Ethereum has shown a little bit of weakness here, actually getting rejected at a level we've seen at the 6th of November right here. And just relatively here, even if we grab a Ethereum and Bitcoin chart, you can see that Ethereum is not gaining as much steam as Bitcoin is, albeit the fact that Ethereum, just looking at the 200 weekly moving average, the yellow line right here, is actually in less of an oversold area. So again, everything kind of coincides with Bitcoin really is the main player right now, being in undervalued categories, not following the RSI, but very much so following the 200 weekly moving average. You can see Ethereum's already crossed that. And Ethereum is facing some major resistance from, well, pretty recently. And Bitcoin has already went past the majority of those. That's not all though. That's not all I have to explain right here. Another piece is you should understand that what I'm explaining to you now is we have the strategy when the bull market comes around. We're going to be looking for some really juicy altcoins, and I'm going to be sharing a lot of them over on my channel. And I think many people will be able to turn $10,000 into $1, $2, $3 million in about a year and a half or so. If the market picks up in the way in which it did about 2 years ago, or last year, we can call it. So what I have to add is it's pretty hard to say, however, when the top will happen. And so what we gradually do is right now, we are expecting, okay, the biggest bottom for Bitcoin was in at, let's say, $15,000 or so, which is akin to the bottom we saw in March of 2020. We don't know how long it's going to take for us to reach this major top, because similarly in 2020, to get from this point here all the way towards the top, you can see took 609 days. If we, compare it with our current period, that would mean that from the point at which we hit our bottom, 609 days into the future, that would basically place us a little bit less than what I drew here at the 12th, 15th or so of July 2024 before reaching our consequent top, which it's just basically extrapolating what we've seen before here, this move. Potentially with Bitcoin at, $100,000 or so, who knows? But it could also potentially be higher and take longer, as potentially to gain as much wealth as we did in this period. To gain more than what we had in this point, it might not actually take a longer amount of time as well. But of course, it depends on many factors. Point being, from the moment you've reached all-time high, what you're going to start seeing is that altcoins will be first to really start slacking off. Right now, percentage-wise, you can see that the most of the altcoins usually have actually performed worse than Bitcoin has, with Bitcoin here being at minus 67% from its all-time high, and most altcoins will be doing a lot worse. The same thing is going to happen once we come falling back down. Bitcoin will be more robust than the majority of altcoins. And that's something you should definitely be watching out for. And how we prepare for that is, again, like our initial sheet kind of provided right here, is by, at that point, going again from these lower caps back into Bitcoin, as it will go down the least. So a quick little summary right here. Right now, the majority of people I know are stacking Bitcoin, potentially already starting to find and look for some gems, which are low caps basically with high potential, that might be coming up over the next couple of weeks. However, following history, we're expecting that Bitcoin's little dominance rush, albeit with Bitcoin's price going down or up, it does not matter, is going to continue on for a little bit. And in that period, altcoins may have some slight pumps, but Bitcoin overall is still the best bet in my opinion. At any one of these points though, that could turn around, and so we are then going to heavily focus on not this top list. This top list is something that I already have a lot of. I explained that in many of my portfolio videos. I already have a lot of Ethereum, I already have a lot of Bitcoin, I already have a lot of XRP. I'm not selling any of those because those are my safe haven. That's a stash. I'm not selling maybe ever, or I don't think I would ever really sell it. It's there to just remain over time, and all I'm trying to do is buy more coins. There's the altcoin stash, these lower capped altcoins that I'm buying purely to make profit on, to sell, and then buy more of all these coins with when we get another chance to do so. Potentially in another bearish period like potentially we're seeing now, but mostly like we've seen the last couple of weeks before what we're seeing now. Those are the perfect time to stack up on altcoins like these. If you want examples of altcoins that I'm going to be buying, all I can say is just be subscribed to the channel. I'm literally going to try and share one with you guys every week if I'm able to find it, hopefully more often. However, the probability of success will depend on the cryptocurrency that we find. Can I guarantee you guys will do well? Absolutely not. Can I guarantee that I'm going to try my best to find the best of the best gems? That's 100% for sure. And I will guarantee you this, however. You will probably learn more being part of our team here, being subscribed to the channel, than if you were not, as I'm honestly quite sure that out of the majority of crypto YouTubers out there, I don't want to say I've invested in the most amount of projects, but I do believe that I might be the best educator on this specific field. There's one other YouTuber that I know that's extremely good, but sometimes there are some underlying motives right there. In this case here, I have absolutely nothing to sell you, nothing to gain. And I also believe that the strategy, which I'm explaining to you guys now, will only work for as long as not too many people know it. So if the channel all of a sudden grows like crazy in the next major bull run, I'm not sure if I can keep explaining all these details to y'all, because like almost all these honey jars is like, there's only enough honey for X amount of people. If there's too many people trying to get honey out of the jar, yeah, the profit is going to be a lot lower. Your margin is going to be lower overall, and it will just be harder to get into good opportunities. But for the last time, summarize it, the more bullish the market gets, the more I allocate myself to risk. If you've watched one of my, I have some different channels by the way, but anyway, I made a video recently where I explained my biggest mistake that I made in the last bull run. And one single very small mistake I made cost me so many millions of dollars, it's insane. And that had mostly to do, I also said this in an interview in Malta recently. Anyway, it had to do with not being willing to take enough risk. Me and a friend of mine, we both started at some point investing in some of these riskier projects. And let's say after a couple of months, it got to $1 million, maybe a couple of weeks, I don't remember. We both took a little bit of a different path, and let's just say it like this. I don't regret things, I will never regret things, but if I could turn back time, what I would have done differently is follow more towards his, you might call it brainless path of just being willing to take risk now that you're able to do so, rather than having the regret, potentially, of playing it safe. I personally don't think playing it safe is the best way to go about it, as you might end up indeed with $1 million, which might be a whole lot for you. But for me, in my own opinion, I'm pretty young still. The money I'll make, again, this amount of money. But then to risk $1 million to potentially make 120 million or so within 4 months, yeah, and that's basically where I made the big mistake. He invested a couple $1 million so much better into things that I did not really think were worth it. For example, with Shiba Inu. How much money did I put in? $100 or so. How much did we get out of it? Tens of thousands of dollars. How much money did he put in? 104 or potentially $80,000. Not sure if it's $104,000 or $80,000 because there's two investments that we did at the time, but you get the idea. I was a lot more like, oh, let's not go too crazy because it's a very high risk. And he's like, I have a lot of good money right now. These things are hyped up. These things are going crazy. Let's try it out because if it works, it's going to get me so much more money. And again, this is all with the philosophy of having enough money to consecutively do this. If your bankroll is $1,000, I personally don't think it's smart to put $1,000 or $100 even into one project. In theory, at that point, you'd have to allocate, let's say, 1% of your portfolio, let's call it 2% of your portfolio, to each and every single one of these opportunities to remain in a safe spot. Otherwise, you don't have enough liquidity basically to get to your major win. In roulette, for example, with the martingale strategy, if you had an infinite bankroll, theoretically speaking, you'd win if there was also no limit on the table. But at least the more times you can play, the higher your odds of eventually getting that 50-50 win, so to speak, if you're playing red and black. because each time is 50-50. Anyway, I don't want to bore you guys too much. The idea is just we're going to go for a lot more risk, only investing what we're able to lose, obviously. Keep making sure that we have a set portfolio on the side with amazing cryptocurrencies already, fundamental builders that I'm not selling. But we're going to allocate right now a lot more to Bitcoin that we're going to transfer over a lot into crazier altcoins as times get better and as the Bitcoin dominance keeps picking up, which we're going to also get rid of again when the signs are showing. But I'll be making videos throughout the journey here, guys. I'll be explaining every one of my steps along the way. So all I can say is if you guys are down for the ride, make sure you subscribe. And also, I'm doing something very cool this bull run. As I've already said over on Twitter, I believe as things are standing now, it would be very cool to fly 5 people over to Dubai and teach them everything I know about making money with crypto, basically. Yeah, that's something really cool I'm looking forward to for the next big bull market. Anyway, that was it for today's video. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys again in another crypto video. Maybe later today, who knows? I'm going to enjoy my coconut.